to keep exercising you in this. So you have 3 assignments to get the class done. One assignment is preparatory in nature. That's where you read, you watch any media that I lay out, you read any articles and books, the particular chapters. You sit with that like a menu. And the first thing you do, give me a moment as I make sure this part of my screen is in front of me so I don't create more confusion for you. You use the takeaway form that I created. If you'll look in the appendix, hint, hint, several folks contacted me with some confusion. How does this work in the class? How does that work in the class? I asked, have you read the syllabus yet? And they're like, oh, wow, no, I didn't think about reading the syllabus. So in this class, we use a syllabus. That's the promise I am seeking to keep. If the technology can't keep up with me, please revert to the syllabus. I will be somewhere in the background calling for assistance, staying up late at night, being surprised by something I thought was fixed that gets broken inside of these systems. If that's going on, just know that Russell is using the syllabus as the criteria for whether I'm keeping my promise or not the computer system. I'm going to bend it to my will so that it will serve learning. I'm not going to bend learning to a system that may not be ready to serve us well. I think they'll come together. But your preparation will follow a four-step process. First, you're going to review. In that first quadrant, if you look in your appendix, I write book, article, media. I'm wanting you to show me that you have read, that you've gotten it by being able to reduce each of these forms of learning, these forms of input to a single sentence in the voice of the author. What I was basically trying to say, ladies and gentlemen, is blank. As the executive producer, what we sought to say in our film was this. That's what I want you to say, and you do that over and over until whatever's assigned, those chapters and media items have been exhausted, so that you show me that you understand it by summarizing it. If you can't tell me what it is, then you don't know it yet. It hasn't gone inside of you yet. So keep working on that so you know it by heart. The second quadrant to the right is the one called reflect. The first is review, then one is reflect. In this one, you're going to ask yourself, what questions did this raise for me? What did this reading or this media stimulate for me? What was incomplete? What doesn't match where I'm at theologically? You know, you could say, well, that would be true if I was starting with the perspective of a Catholic, or if I was starting with the perspective of a Reformed person. But from a Wesleyan point of view, so this is your permission to bring your experience to bear. Now, if you're looking at that second quadrant, you'll find a big gold bar down the left-hand side and one of the quadrants shaded in. It says engage weekly assigned materials. In this section, this is where you're going to generate elevating questions, 1 to 3 questions that will invite your peers in the conversation about how they critiqued, how they understood, and this is where the analysis and the synthesis comes together. Quadrant 3 is recall. The first is review, the second is reflect, the third is to recall. This is where you go back in your experience, you're just like, this reminds me of a case. This reminds me of a story. This reminds me of an episode that I was in. This reminds me of last week's finance meeting. Tell us a story. Tell us where this stuff connects for you. Connect it for us. And the last one is, what will your response be? Charles Spurgeon says, I'd like to never get caught trafficking unlived truth. I don't want your response to be, hey, I'm going to pray about it one day, or maybe I ought to tell somebody else about it. No, I want a concrete plan, something you're going to do in the next 90 days. You're going to let learning inform you. Leaders are not only readers, but they execute on what they have read. They do something with it. They make it their own. They contextualize it. This is your task. It's not the professor's task. It's not your peer's task. If your spouse is in the class, it's not your spouse's task. How will you contextualize this so that you do what I call emotional heroism? Emotional heroism is where you decide, I'm going to demonstrate growth by not doing what I ordinarily do, but cultivating a new reflex. And I do what I've learned. I let the world inform me. I get a renewed mind and practice out of this thing. So the fourth quadrant is responded. And in light of the text, 1 to 3 actions I can take in the next 90 days that would result in a change, a different way of going about these elements. So all of that form is kind of your first assignment. The second assignment is to host a discussion. Wednesday night and Saturday, those are the two time markers you want to have in mind. Midnight on Wednesday is when you must post for the week. And I'm suggesting that you go to quadrant 2, select that thread question, and introduce it and host it there. In other words, you've already done the preparation to host your thread discussion. And then you should reply to 2 other peers, and then reply to everybody else who's come to your thread by Saturday at midnight. So that's your time window for demonstrating your learning and engaging the content. So assignment A is getting prepared by working with materials. Assignment B is hosting a discussion with your peers, which is consultative. I'm not going to be in every threaded discussion. I'm going to get in here and there and do summary work after everything has been submitted. But this is where we together begin to massage meaning out of the course. Your last assignment will be a way where a lot of what you've learned will converge into an executive interview. You're going to find someone from an organization that's hopefully not your own, but it can still be Salvation Army. If you're in a ARC, maybe you want to talk to another ARC leader in another part of the country, or a Kroc person, a Kroc leader may anticipate an assignment in the next couple of years to ARC. So you may have a cross-case analysis between Kroc and ARC. Or just be creative in terms of what will help your professional development. But that third assignment will be an interview-based learning process of where you try to get a person to tell you what their fulfillment system is, to use the logic model process and the PACE categories for you to glean from another group how their organization is perfectly designed to get the results they're getting. Now, in future sessions, I will upload some videos to talk about how to use the PACE model in an interview and how to use the logic model and the examples that I'll provide for you. So you should be comfortable by the time it's time to start doing the interviews. But let me give you a tip. Start early. Get agreements or access to these organizations and these organization leaders really early. It will not be an excuse at the end of the semester to say, hey, my organization never emailed me back. I really don't have much respect for passivity in our email kind of relaxed world. Pick up the phone, cross the street, and stay responsible for your part of the work. An email, waiting for people to reply to your email is waiting for the phone book to call you. So that just isn't the way it works. You're in charge of ordering your academic life, and we've only got 8 weeks. 1 week is gone. It's time to just jump in, get a secure interview locked in, and get it done next week. Get it done the week after. But don't wait until the last week, because you're sure to be bitten, as others have been bitten in the past. And the professor is not the dispenser of grace. Professor needs grace. So someone else, you can talk to God about getting grace. I'm asking you to have discipline and delight by having the grace to act early. So that's where we're going to do the grace work, is you either accept the grace of a lower grade, or you order your academic world to get those interviews done so that you can get the learning that your peers will also be getting. Okay, that should get us started as we kick off this second week. I realize last week was just a firefight for many of you just getting through. Grace all over that. This week, let's see what you've got going by Wednesday. Let's get those conversations closing down by midnight on Saturday. And let's work through leadership and management in a nonprofit organization so that you are proud to say that your organization is getting the results that it's getting, that it's perfectly designed to get the results that you're getting. I'll see you in the classroom. Go love them.